Yeah, man. So I think we got enough.
Cool.
Is it ever really enough, though, Tom? Is it ever really enough?
I'm excited to tell you about my new favourite Twitter account. It's not mine.
Oh, right, okay. My new favourite Twitter account.
It's not yours either. Yeah.
Thanks.
You guys should follow.
Oh, man. Okay, well, there's only one way we're going to get to hear about that.
Let's do it.
And that's if we start the show!
Whoa!
Fuck me.
Interesting things said by uninteresting people. You're hosted by Ben and Tom. Interesting things said by uninteresting people.
Cool. Ben's very tired, everybody.
Oh, man, I'm too tired. I'm way too tired for this. Oh, we should intro it properly. Hello. It's the standard hello. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Interesting Things Said by Uninteresting People, a podcast where we talk about interesting things so that you don't have to. My name's Ben, and as always, I'm joined by the nautical half of the podcast, Tom. Tom, I don't know what you're going to do with those ropes, mate. Stop. No, I see it's a knot. Fine, it's knots. Yeah, put them away. We're on recording. How are you?
Sorry, man. You know me and my knots.
My jig.
Yeah, I'm okay. How's Ben?
Mate, I am just tired enough to have gone slightly mental, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I know I talked about tiredness before, just briefly before we started recording. I am properly losing energy.
Zonked.
I've got a very full tum.
For this episode, Ben's going to go to sleep, and I will pretend to be Ben.
You know what? I would love a half-hour episode of just you being both of us.
I'll be exhausted by the end.
Mate, that's pretty on brand. That's no trouble. Mate, how are you? What have you been up to?
Yeah, good. Not too bad. We obviously had the very sad death of one of my cats at the start of the week, which sucked.
Yeah,
that was bad. But otherwise, you know, other than that, pretty good. I've had a really strong week on the old Bite Review channel, so it's been good in that respect. Lots of cool new developments and sponsorships and little bits and bobs coming through which haven't been. So that's been nice. So yeah, I've only worked. Amazing. I've only done a little bit of freelance with Rachel this week. I usually do a couple of days at least, but this week's only been one day. So it kind of felt like I had a week off, but not, because I've just been working on Bite Review stuff.
Dude, that must feel good though, man. That must feel really good.
Yeah, it does. It's nice. It's nice to have an idea of what it might be like to do it full time, if that makes sense. It's nice to think like, right, today I'll do X, Y, and Z, rather than I have to do this today because this is the only time I have, which is nice. But how about you, man?
Dude, I am pretty good. I feel very worn out. I mean, we're recording this on a Friday night because we're in the middle of lockdown and we've got nothing better to do. But I've spent a lot of this week. I spent one day in particular just doing a lot of, it's a lot of DIY, I guess, which sounds very middle-agey and very kind of uninteresting, but it's just, we're working on finishing off a few rooms in our house.
Nice.
So I'm a dude. So I spent one day basically confined to the landing and the hall because I had to shut all the doors and seal them off because I was sanding all this wood and there was bloody dust going everywhere. So I spent my entire day just in two tiny little spaces, occasionally ducking out for a whiz, and that was about it. So I don't know, it's taken out of me, to be honest. And there's probably lots of people out there who are like, what the fuck are you complaining about?
Probably.
I don't know what this guy's problem is. But you know what, man? It's not my main skill, you know? It's not where my main area of expertise lies. No, so mate, it drains me.
And fair play to you, because I'm like the opposite of that sort of thing. If there needs to be something to be done like that, I have no ambition or anything to do it other than phoning somebody up to come and do it for me.
Mate, that's because you've got more sense. That's what the problem is. Far too sensible for your own good.
I don't know, mate, I've always been bad at DIY. The best I can do is a shelf, and that really is it.
Mate, that's a start. That's a start.
It is, but when that goes wrong, which it has done very often, it's like, oh...
It's like I used a whole pack of blue tack. I don't really know what the problem here is.
I bought some Pritt stick, but that doesn't seem to work. Is that right?
Oh, wow. Well, the thing is, mate, I mean, with stuff like that, with stuff like DIY, because I think cooking's similar as well. When people kind of go, oh, I don't really do that, I can't do that. Man, I think it's just out of necessity. No one wakes up in the morning and goes, I would really love to have to sand a banister today.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true.
But yeah, man, other than that, it's been a decent enough week, you know. I mean, back in lockdown 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, I was going to say, but you're still working, so...
Oh, man, do you know...
No change for Ben.
It's the worst of both worlds, though. Because it means... Oh, yeah, I'm still going to work, and there's nothing else you can go off and do. So, cool, I guess.
Rubbish.
At least in the first lockdown, we blagged, you know, furlough, and, you know, we didn't actually have to go to work.
Yeah. Yeah, and you actually had time to do other stuff, but now you have no time to do stuff and no time to go out.
No, man.
Rubbish.
Just confined to my hall and my landing. Mate, how have you been coping with the second lockdown?
Well, mate, like the same as you, my life hasn't really changed, so I'm kind of okay with it. But, you know, like I said, I work at home, so it's fine. I guess the only thing that sucks is we used to go over people's houses for films and stuff, and we just can't do that anymore. And having someone over, you just can't do that anymore. And I can't work with Rachel next door anymore, which sucks because it's just so much easier if we can just sit on the kitchen table together as opposed to just do Zoom chats or Google chats, which kind of seems silly, but I think Sam had to come home from work because there was a student got diagnosed, well, got a positive test.
Okay.
So they're on like proper lockdown.
Yeah.
As in can't leave the house sort of lockdown. So they're doing like online shops and all that sort of stuff.
Jesus, man.
Yeah,
it's difficult, isn't it? I guess it's like, I know everyone is having a different experience, so it's very easy to start thinking that what you're going through is the same as what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
But do you feel like we're all generally just becoming very used to this now?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like I think some people... Oh, my lights just can't turned off. I think the batteries ran out. That's fine.
Oh, so I can see you, mate. I can see you.
Top podcast in there. My lights turned off, so Ben can still see me. Yeah. I think a lot of people are fine with it, but I think it is breaking some other people. So
sure.
I don't know. I don't know if they could do. I think they could do 3 lockdowns. Do you know what I mean? And then after then, they'll just have to let it run its course because I don't think people will stand for it.
Yeah.
And as bad as that is, because you know you should do what you can, but it's one of those things, isn't it? We need. Yeah, we're social beings. We need to be around people. Yeah. Even if the danger of death is there.
That's it, man. I mean, and I think you're right, dude, because I think the more we go back and forth and have to keep being told, all right, now go back home again, people do get numb to it and they start getting more reckless or just more fed up with it is a better way.
Yeah, mate, fed up is probably the state of the nation right now.
Yeah. But dude, do you hear about the vaccines?
Yeah, vaccines. There is some good news. Tom's good news could return.
Dude, I almost feel like we need to wait for Corona to pass and then we can have good news back again. I feel like we're allowed to have good news once we actually have the vaccine ready to go. Because, man, I mean, what do they say? We've got enough for 20 million people to get vaccinated on the way.
That's pretty good.
To be fair,
I haven't read much up about it because I feel like it'll be a way off yet still anyway, just in implementation.
I mean, honestly, I think I heard that we're going to start vaccinating next month.
Oh wow, that's
Mate,
awesome.
It's properly, it's like properly on the way. And the Pfizer vaccine, I think we have on order for next month. Hopefully, if they start doing care homes first, even that would be awesome.
Because then they can start lifting restrictions.
It's amazing, though, man. The number of people that you hear saying who are anti-vaxxers, basically, or who are saying, "Oh no, they just want to keep track of us." You know, they won't let us do anything unless we've had the vaccine. They're just trying to control us. It's like, you know what? If you're not going to get vaccinated, I hope they don't let you do anything. I hope they make you stay at home because bollocks to that.
Yeah, man. I watched, funnily enough, this was a TikTok I watched, but it was a doctor saying, he was saying this is why people are anti-vax it, because it usually takes about 10 years to get a vaccine for something. But he was explaining the reason for that is because usually when you're trying to develop a vaccine or developing a vaccine nowadays, is it's not for an urgent virus. So it's for something quite small or for something that might be coming and not too sure. And they have to go through rounds and rounds of like reports and like proof that this might come about, this might be a problem in the future. And then they have to get funding, and then it has to go through volunteers and all that sort of stuff. And they were just saying through COVID, they had all the funding they wanted from the government, a million, like literally thousands of doctors were working on it all at once. And the pool of people willing to take a vaccine was massive. And they said, that's why it's been fast tracked. That's why when you hear people say, oh, you shouldn't take it, it's been rushed. It hasn't been rushed. There's just been, everything has been there for the taking.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Matt, did you hear about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine?
No, I didn't.
Because Johnson & Johnson don't just make baby oil; they're like a big pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, I only learned that through the vaccine thing.
Oh well, they make contact lenses as well. So I'm sort of familiar with them, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were told the line was when we were asked why the British government hadn't ordered some of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The answer was, oh well, they don't want to deal outside the American market. You think, oh, that's fair enough. Except until the EU have ordered millions and millions of doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. So if you're in the EU, you can have plenty of it outside of the American market. That's sad, isn't it? That's sad. I mean, we don't need to dwell on that, but that's just as an interesting side point in this whole thing. But yeah, man, I'm actually weirdly hopeful about it for the first time in a long time, and it feels like we've had a week of good news.
Yeah.
Like a couple of weeks, I should say.
But what's probably the biggest piece of good news recently, Ben? What could have happened?
Tom, I want to take a moment to acknowledge your perfect segue there.
It was flawless.
Speaking of Americans as well, there's some good news in politics over in America. I think it's good news.
Yeah, we're agreed there. I think
I recognise that 70 million Americans would disagree.
Yeah.
And hey, man, we all know the truth. It's actually more like 140 million Americans.
Yeah.
If they could just get the bloody poll counts right,
God, if they just let people in to watch the votes being counted.
Oh no, Tom, no, because they did.
If only the machines hadn't been changing the votes to Biden.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so ridiculous, dude. I mean. There's so much to keep track of with the whole Trump being kicked
it's mental. Out. He's lost and he just cannot accept it. He's like throwing out his toys out the pram, isn't he? So badly.
It's unreal, man. Absolutely unreal. I mean, every writhe and every turn that he tries to make is just shut down. It's like with when they've taken it into court and the judges are saying, "So, are you saying there's voter fraud?" And they go, "No, we're not saying that." Right. So, what are you saying? We're saying we want to investigate. Well, based on what? Are you saying there's been fraud? No. It's literally what it comes down to is we can't believe that we lost.
Yeah. And I want to do anything. The problem is half of America, or at least a large portion, maybe 47%, all think it's the truth as well.
Yeah.
Why? I don't see how they can't think. So say that, this is the same. The election wouldn't have changed if Trump had won or lost. The security of it is the same regardless. Yeah. It doesn't mean, if it was in a different reality and the votes were counted, and Trump got more votes, there wouldn't have been a difference. You don't need to investigate. It's just mental, mate. I don't see how he can be so damaging to American democracy. Literally through Twitter. Like every tweet he does now is like listed with that little thing that says this probably isn't true. Yeah. It's like, how is he still allowed an account? How?
What I find, I have got a bit of a theory about this, because what I find really interesting is that like the American democratic system is like it's like the ocean. There's a big wave surfer called Laird Hamilton, who I'm probably butchering the what he said, the quote, but he was saying one of the reasons why he loves surfing, why he loves going to the ocean, is that you can be the biggest, most macho, knobhead, alpha male out there. You can think you're the absolute dog's bollocks. You can push people around. You can be like, no, I'm the man. I am the man.
Yeah.
And the ocean will go, oh yeah, that's cool. I'll just drown you.
Yeah.
It's fine. there's no fighting it. It's like, oh yeah, whatever, man, fine, I'll just drown you.
Yeah.
And it's like the democratic system has proved to be like that, because although like you get Trump supporters going, well, how can someone, no one went to Biden's rallies. He wasn't doing what we were doing. Trump screams and he shouts and he points fingers at people. He's rude. He's obnoxious. He's always in the news. He drums us up. He whips us up into a fervor. They cannot imagine that the greater democratic system is stronger than all of that. And we'll just go, yeah, fine, mate, we'll just drown you. Yeah. Because we've had the elections. And it doesn't have to look like that. That's not normally what politics look like.
It's also like when because a lot of people, including Trump, were pointing to his rallies like, how can we lose? Look at the 40,000 people filling out a stadium. It's like, because they weren't doing that.
Yeah.
It's really as simple as that. Yeah, they were having rallies, but they were much smaller. Like they weren't doing, just because they weren't doing that doesn't mean they lose.
Exactly.
It means that wasn't what they were trying to do. They were taking the American people were smarter than turning up to a super spreader event.
Dude,
it's just another.
It's like his supporters can't imagine that that's not what politics is.
Yeah.
It's dude. As a related point here, have you ever seen Idiocracy?
No.
Dude, you should. Right, this is a very brief Ben's rec. Mid podcast. Idiocracy is fantastic. It's about a guy. It's a comedy. I think it was made in the late 90s. I might be getting that wrong. And it's insane just how accurate it is. Basically, it's about a guy who gets frozen and wakes up 100 years in the future, and America has gone to shit. But in the most true to life way possible. Like Terry Crews plays the president. But he's like this big fireworks celebrity shooting off guns everywhere. It's like a reality show all the time. You walk I think they walk into shops and the greeter is like, "Good morning, I love you. Welcome to Starbucks, I love you."
What the hell,
dude? It's so true to life, man. I'd recommend a watch, man. Seriously, I think you'd enjoy it, and everyone else out there listening. Idiocracy.
Fair play, mate. And talking not to change the subject, but talking of listeners, I think I've had another few comments recently saying they've been listening to the podcast.
I hope they're enjoying it.
On the videos, yes, that's nice. And apologies if you do vote Trump. These are just our views, but you're wrong, so...
Oh, man. Look. Right. I would... Now, this is legitimately my thoughts. I know no one's interested in Ben's political analysis here, right?
No.
I would genuinely be interested in talking to people about what they think needs to happen in America. Right. Yeah. So say they do support the Republican administration that's on the way out. So they support Trump personally. I would be very interested, because I do sympathise with some of it as well. Like, there are poorer Americans who believe that their jobs are being taken by immigrants. That is a concern that people have. Sure. I understand that they see people committing acts of terror in America or mass shootings. And I understand that there are people in there who really believe that if you just let more people have guns, it will protect them.
Yeah.
I mean, I would point to all the reasons why I would disagree, but it's that what I can't understand is the people who are just buying into the man.
Yeah.
Where
I think I'm the same, because like I like you, I guess I don't have any problems at all with Republicans in general, but the current leader is the person I have an issue with. Like it's not the policy. I'm not going to pretend I know enough about Trump's policies to understand anything like that. I just think he's a terrible president because of how he acts and how he speaks and how he can't see that that's an issue.
See, I would add to that, mate, how he lets other people think it's okay to act like that.
Yeah, exactly. My cat's just come in.
Podcast cat.
But yeah, mate, it's, and coming from, we'll talk about this in a minute, but coming from watching The Crown, so much of it is about how you'll present yourself and how you hold yourself, and how you're not speaking just for yourself now, you're speaking for every American. When you go to this or you do that, you're talking on a world stage now. You're not talking to your mate in the backyard about fucking this and fucking that.
Yeah. No, dude, you are 100% right. And I mean, I heard a great description of Biden the other day. Someone was saying, even if he doesn't do anything, because I'm not a particular fan of Biden. He's all right. But someone summed it up perfectly. And I'm having deja vu that I might have said this on the podcast before. But he's the kind of guy who you wake up in the morning and not have to worry about.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll never wake up going, oh, what's Biden done today?
Oh, not at all. I think Jonathan Pye put it right when he said, like, Biden's the double dose of Valium that America needs right now.
Yes.
Just set everything back to neutral and just, okay, got rid of Trump. Let's put things kind of back to how they were, and then we'll go on. 4 years' time, we'll pick someone to really take up the mantle.
Someone a bit more dynamic.
Yeah, someone to really pick the mantle up.
Oh, man.
But yeah, man,
good luck to him.
Good luck. Yeah, it's all great news and all the stuff that's going on there. The only thing that I am enjoying slightly, and maybe I shouldn't, is just watching that kind of Trump fanatics and all the people that stood next to him are slowly seeping away.
Yeah. And
slowly the support is going, and more he's starting to look unhinged and just a bit mental.
Oh man. But dude, speaking of his outbursts on Twitter, have you seen Fleets?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, are you into it? I don't know.
Do you know, the thing is with stories, if you're not sure what Fleets are, it's basically Instagram stories for Twitter, isn't it? That's probably the easiest way to put it. Man, I felt like every social app was going to get it, because you can get it on WhatsApp. Have you seen that?
Yes.
You can get
you can have like a status, like a status story, isn't it? Almost like they say statuses.
I think I've got one contact that does it. I can't imagine they get any viewers.
I've got one.
I've got one. We've all got one.
We've all got one.
But I don't hate it. I guess my hope is with it that they do something slightly different, rather than, because at the moment it's pretty basic. It's a basic story for Instagram, for Twitter. I don't know, mate. Twitter's always been my safe place for like social media. I've always really liked it because it's never tried to be any more than it is.
Yeah.
So I worry that maybe it is trying to go down that route, but then maybe it might be a really nice addition. I don't know. What do you think?
In these early days, I know this is a bit of a washout answer, but I don't really feel one way or the other about it. I don't feel like it needed it. I think it is a catch-up thing. I think it's just filling in the blank that Twitter had. But I mean, I don't really get the distinction between stories and posts anyway. But I never really have. I know some people do, and I know you use stories all the time, and it's nothing wrong with it. But I just don't. I've never felt that distinction.
Stories is like from all the stuff that I've like researched and tried to do on the Byte Review one. It's about driving more people to connect with you more often. So usually when I do a story through, weirdly, I actually think it's more of a business tool than look what I'm doing sort of tool.
Yeah.
Because it does drive interaction. If we post, a good example actually is that is Kuroku. Whenever we do a story, we usually get a sale. And that's quite telling. It depends what it is. But yeah, if we do a story that's quite good, or not quite good, but like, I feel is quite interesting or something, we do pull a few sales out of it. When we one of our first stories, I think we did, and this might not be related at all. I don't know. It might just be a coincidence as far as we know. But one of the first few ones we did was like all the YouTubers wearing a Kuroku t-shirt. And we did that as a story. And that drove like 2 or 3 sales just from that, which was cool.
Yeah.
And then we also did, what was it? We did one about, we did one about the hats being stitched, because Rachel stitches all of them.
Yes, yeah.
That wasn't a story, that was a post, but that drove like 3 sales as well, 3 or 4.
Wow, okay.
So it's interesting how it, like I said, mate, it might just be conjecture. I might be talking absolute bollocks, but stories definitely works to push your audience to interact with you more, because when I do them for Byte Review, especially because I've been doing them recently on my actual camera, so they look quite tasty.
Yeah, sure.
I've had so many more comments come through on that of people asking, oh, that looks cool. Where'd you get that from? Or what camera are you shooting this on? I've had that quite a few times.
Yeah.
And those aren't questions I'd normally get. And if you build that relationship a little bit more, then they're going to check out your stuff more often.
Is it something to do with the way that you see stories automatically?
It does push them on you, doesn't it?
Yeah, like if you start watching one person's story, you'll watch all of them, eventually if you just leave it going.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe that's part of it.
I don't know. It made something about, because it came from Snapchat stories, stories is a Snapchat thing. And I think it just drives from that fact that what you do on there isn't permanent. So you can post something on stories, just what you're feeling that at that moment, but it doesn't need to be a post. It can just be like, oh, this is a bit crap, or this is a bit good, or look at what we're doing today. This is really cool, but it doesn't fit our feed.
Sure.
It's quite good for that. But yeah, man, for Twitter, I'm a bit like you. I don't feel either way about it, but also, like you said, I don't think it needed it.
I guess. I'm just sorry, not to, I don't know. We don't have to dive into this way too much because I know we've got more to talk about. But I feel like on Instagram it makes more sense for like a creative account maybe, because you could go like on my posts. This is my work. Here is my work, and the stories are my kind of drafts, or like here's what I'm working on today. But Twitter isn't really that,
No, yeah, I think you're right, because Instagram's you have to post a picture.
Yeah,
it's a very visual medium, whereas Twitter can just be text.
Here's some tweets I'm working on.
Yeah, agreed. It's a bit stranger.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Maybe we'll all be fleeting at some point. But mate, the reason I want to ask you about Twitter is because I want to know which one is your new favourite.
Oh, Ben, have I got a treat for you? We could almost call this I'm going to load it up on my phone right now, because it is just such a fantastic Twitter account. So it's pretty big, actually. I just haven't seen it before. But you'll get the idea of the account within the first second of me saying what it's called.
Right.
The account is called Gripping Food with Force. And and the first, it's always two pictures. the first picture. Honestly, it's so worth a follow.
Hang on, I'm finding it now.
It's always two pictures. The first picture is a nice item, like of food, and the second picture is that food being crushed within some sort of grip, usually in a fist. Or a pinch. The best ones are like the really sloppy ones, like ice cream or beef, or
some of these are brilliant.
Some of it's like a milk carton you just crush.
I've got a guy crushing an apple in his bicep here. This is hilarious. Oh yeah, man.
Some of them are so fantastic. Like the egg is always great, or like there's a banana here, which is great. But yeah, it's a pretty simple account. It's very simple pleasures. I
would watch this all day long.
That is worth a follow. Gripping Food with Force. The handle is just Gripping Food. And
that's hilarious. I need to remember that we're doing a podcast. I need to cover that back up. Cover it up, because otherwise.
But yeah, that's what's been giving me my daily jolly, a daily goof.
That is fantastic. See,
it's such a simple thing.
I don't even feel like I have I was hoping I could give you one that I've been following, but there isn't.
No, well, mate, Gripping Food with Force, mate. And also, in other Twitter news, not that this is really news, and I'm just double checking my account just to be sure. I think this was a few podcasts ago. I said I've been a bit more careful about what I'm posting and trying to grow on Twitter, because it's actually hard. I hit 1,000 followers today on the old Twitter, which is good, because I think when I said I'm going to start doing that, I'd just broken 700 or something.
That's quite a jump, mate.
Which, mate, we're still talking such small amount of followers, but Twitter is so hard to grow compared to everything else. It felt like a little achievement today, so there you go.
Oh, mate, congratulations.
Yay, the dopamine, yeah.
Dude, don't worry, suck it up, live it up, man, live it up. I'll put in some crowd sounds, like just some cheering.
Just unfollow me after this and I'll be on 999 again. Great.
Oh man, this episode already just feels like a bit of a fuck around because we haven't spoken in a little while anyway. But we should really talk about some of the things that we wanted to talk about.
Let's do it.
Have you started watching The Crown?
Yes, mate. It's so surprisingly good. I really didn't. I don't know. Callie put it on the other night because she said she wanted to watch something new, and I was just sitting in the sofa on my MacBook, and wasn't your classic half watch. And then before I realised it, the Mac was closed, the glasses were on, and I was engaged. Mate, it's so good. It
really is, man. I'm sorry, I'm not like jumping as a Crown nerd, but yeah, it is a lot of good TV to watch.
I had no idea it was so complicated and riddled with, hierarchy and people having to do this and having to do that. I guess I guess any institution like that would have that, but mate, it's so interesting, especially because she's a young woman in such a huge position of power.
Yeah.
It's such a juxtaposition of how things were back in 1950. Yeah. It's really interesting to watch. Really interesting.
Especially in those first couple of series, man. The actors they got are fantastic.
It's incredible.
It's Matt Smith, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I just know him as the Doctor, but
sure.
He's fantastic in it, and they're all, mate. They're all so posh. I know they're posh anyway, but they're all like, "Mummy,
yeah,
it's brilliant."
Oh man, well, put it this way. I mean, we're up to date with it, and
way.
I can tell you. So now we're into the Diana years.
Yeah,
with series
really
4, mate. It's really good. It carries on being. It's a weird one because I still think the first 2 series are the best so far.
Because we're on series 1 at the moment, so we're not that far in. Well, I think we're on episode 6 or 7. We literally, I watched one before this podcast. We watched. It's where the mum goes to Scotland. It's pretty low key spoiler.
Yeah,
the mum goes to Scotland
for the British history.
She goes on, and the Queen is on that massive tour with Philip.
Yeah,
that was a good episode actually. My favourite episode so far has been the one with the Russians test the H bomb. No, I tell a lie, Ben. My favourite one is that fog episode. Fucking hell, it was good.
Yeah.
That episode reminded me of something you have to watch at school because it's such a good representation of it. They can't teach it any better.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, do you know what? Just watch this episode of The Crown.
Oh, but kids, you're not going to understand it unless we watch every episode up to this and then after as well.
Yeah. But yeah, really enjoying Churchill as well. He's the man playing him. His accent or his speech as Churchill is very good. Kind of old man stooped in rubbish. But yeah, man, I'm really enjoying it, and surprisingly so. I'm really happy that we found something new to watch.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, it's. I think it stays good. It definitely stays good. It's definitely worth watching.
Cool.
But it's when Olivia Colman shows up and Helena Bonham Carter shows up, and you kind of start going, "You're just Helena Bonham Carter."
Yeah,
it starts to be difficult to. I don't know. Maybe it takes you out of it a little bit, but it's not. It doesn't spoil it for the last 2 series.
Is the Queen the same age in series 2?
Yes, it's the same actress.
Same actress. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I think time has gone on, but it's the same actress.
I really like her in it. I think she's great.
She's very good. Yeah,
mate. I must admit, it's blown me away at how really, really, mate. The budgets for those episodes must be through the roof.
Yeah, dude. I bet they are.
It looks incredible as well from a geeky, nerdy cinematography standpoint.
Yeah, man. And it's fantastic. A lot of what I do like about it is that a lot of the time the pacing is quite relaxed.
Yeah.
So it's very much watch this person walk down this corridor, watch the facial expressions change. It's a very, very slow paced kind of cinematography.
Yeah, mate. Me and Kelly were just saying in that episode, it's funny to see how much power the Queen has, but also how much power she doesn't have at the same time.
Yeah,
it's like she's the ultimate head of state, but also a puppet completely to just duty.
It's like power bound by expectation, isn't it? You know,
Massively,
it's like, you can do what you like, except you always have to do this.
Yeah. The illusion of freedom is very much, they're almost like the prisoners in a sad way, the royal family.
I was going to ask you this, actually. Does it make you feel more sympathetic towards the royal family?
Do you know, I never really had any feelings about the royal family, if I'm honest. I've never been one of those people that thinks they should all go away. I think they're probably, if anything, drive tourism and are a bit of fun for the UK to have.
I mean, no, I agree, mate. I think that I've always thought they play the hand they've been dealt with grace, and pretty well. Like short of dissolving the monarchy, which I don't think they're ever going to do. Because I know lots of people have complaints, it costs us this much. It's like, but you know what? People, like you say, the tourism isn't something to shy away from.
People like, that's why they come to London to see the palace and see the Queen.
And, I mean, dude, the money that they raise for charitable causes and the work that they do, man, I don't mind them. I think they, like I say, I think they handle what they're born into well.
Definitely. Mate, the thing that makes me and Callie have been saying it to each other while I've been watching it is like, she's still the Queen now. Yeah. That she is still that 24-year-old from 1952 is still the Queen. Yeah. The 94-year-old Queen. Or 96 or something.
Mate,
so old.
I heard that they watch it.
Do they?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think at least William and Kate do. I think some of them do. To be honest, I bet they've all watched at least an episode of it.
Mate, I would watch it. My God.
But the thing is, especially as it goes through, man, it's a very, like, it shows how tough it, for the drama, it shows how tough it is for them, but it also shows some not so nice truths about them. Massively. So I don't know, man. And especially for the younger ones to be watching it, because now we're starting to approach the modern day, with Charles meeting Diana. That's, for William and Kate, or for William, that's his mum and dad.
Yeah.
And that starts to be maybe a bit closer to home, I suppose.
Yeah, watching the Diana stuff must be weird. Must be really weird.
I tell you what, man, I had, I forget where I heard this now, but I didn't realise that Diana was 36 when she died.
I had no idea how old she was.
It feels very young, man. I mean, that's the same, mate. I'm that age now.
Yeah.
It feels, to think where she, I always pictured her being at least 10 years older.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Maybe you're going to be older than Princess Diana soon.
Yeah. And that's genuinely, I mean, that feels weird. It feels not right. Like, I don't know. I thought I'd be a prince by now, but
yeah, she did a lot more than you, Ben.
Yeah, she accomplished far more in her life than I ever will, given many more years.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But yeah, mate, the Queen, the crown, sorry. Mate, we're going to geek out about this because why not?
Go on.
You watched all the Marvel series, didn't you? So Daredevil, Luke Cage.
Yeah.
All those sorts of things. So first, I think it's probably the second episode we watched The Crown. I said, because we put the episode on and the intro started, I was like, God, that intro looks just like the Marvel ones.
Yes, it does. Like yeah.
Forming and all that sort of stuff. I was like, I wonder who did it. And then Callie looked up on her phone. It's the same team that do the Marvel ones.
Is it? Oh, man, that does make a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense.
But even just the music and stuff, because we watch it every time now. Because I used to say when we were watching the Marvel stuff, I'd always say to Callie, I can't skip the intro. That's criminal because the intros are so good. Especially the Punisher intro is always my favourite.
Yeah.
That one was so good. But man, that team, I guess the company that does it has a Vimeo and they do loads of intros. They do a huge amount, but they're all very similar style.
Yeah, cool.
Very, very cool. But yeah, whenever the Crown intro comes on, I'm like, don't skip it.
Yeah. Let it ride. Let it ride.
Right. Let me see that crown form.
Oh man. It's like, that's the crown. That's the crown. Yes, Tom. Yes, Tom. I know.
Yes, Tom. I know.
Oh man, I'm glad you're into it, dude. Because it's I think it's because of what it's about, and especially now because people are kind of more mainstream getting into it. Like with Game of Thrones, I suppose, like how that got more and more popular. I'm worried that puts people off. So, and they shouldn't be, because it is genuinely good TV.
Definitely.
Even if you say, oh, I'm not really interested in the royal family, you don't have to be.
No,
See it as
really
drama.
don't.
Just think of it as a drama.
Yeah, man, and it's the thing that I always like about it as well is like it is based on pretty much fully true events.
Yeah.
So whatever's happening, is a dramatization. So it's going to be a bit more mental. But yeah, cool that stuff happened.
Dude, speaking of things to watch, because they feel kind of similar in tone as well. We watched The Queen's Gambit on Netflix the other day.
Cool. I've only read and heard things about it, but I haven't watched it.
Well, okay. If I had to give a one sentence sum up, then yeah, I would definitely watch it. That is overall. That is my opinion. It's definitely worth a watch.
That's the chess one, isn't it?
It is. It's about it's fictional, but it feels like real life, which I feel like is the mark of good fiction sometimes.
Definitely.
It feels like it could have been like a real life story, but it's about a woman who is orphaned when she's very small, grows up in an orphanage, gets taught how to play chess by the maintenance man, the cleaner, the janitor for the orphanage. And it turns out that she is like preternaturally good at it. She is insane. Like she's seeing the pieces move on the ceiling. It's proper clicks with her. She's a chess genius, And
nice.
It's only 7 episodes, so it's not too long. It tells how you used to say, speaking of the Marvel stuff, that the Marvel stuff should have been half the length to about 6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah.
This works because of it.
Nice.
And it's just about her growing up and her growing career as a chess grandmaster, But she also has an addiction problem with pills because it starts when she's in the orphanage and they give the kids sedatives to keep them down. But then she grows up and she can't, she's taking these pills and drinking and all the rest of it. And it's so that kind of it's maybe that's not a major part of the story, but that kind of influences it as well.
Sure.
But mate, it's just good. The fact that they can take something like chess and make it into such high drama is the mark, I think, of a good TV show.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is it just a one-off? Is it one series?
Yeah. It's based off a novel,
cool.
I think. Yeah, it's weird. The only criticism that I heard about it, and it's an interesting one. It was from, and I hadn't even considered this. I was listening to a woman talking about it, and she was saying that the only problem that stuck out to her was that there's this amazing woman in the story. She's brilliant. She's so skilled at chess. She's able to do this, etc., etc. She beats these men that she meets, who she becomes friends with, and then they become like almost like mentors to her.
Right.
And she's going, well, why is it that she's still like looking to them for help? Why is it still like I've outstripped you in every way, but hey, you can still help me. You can still teach me this. And maybe it's a small quibble, I guess, but she was saying, considering it's fiction, you could have written that any different way.
Yeah. Definitely.
So why not just write it that she's able to stand on her own?
Mate, a bit of a change of subject, only because you kind of mentioned that TV thing. Was it called Quibble or something?
Oh, Quibi.
Yeah. It's only because you said that's dead now, isn't it?
That's gone completely down the pan.
Yeah, I hear that's really gone.
Oh man. I know. Look, right. Okay. So on paper, I know that there were so many things wrong with Quibi. I know that it doesn't really make sense, but I was gunning for it. I was like, come on, this is going to be cool. Oh man, but people kept saying like, if you want 10-minute chunked up videos to watch, you've got YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not really filling a market that isn't already there. But man, what a shame. What
a shame. You had it, you lost it.
Oh man, some of the programming on it was so shit though. I mean, you hear television producers talking about it, like when they're pitching ideas.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, at top of the tree you got like Netflix, Amazon Prime. And it goes down and down and down and down and down. At the very bottom is like, oh, we might take it to Quibi.
Oh, God. That is awful.
Yeah, not great, mate. Not great.
Oh, well.
For shame. But yeah, I would actually heartily recommend Queen's Gambit. I think it's very cool. Dude, have you ever played chess? You ever got into chess?
Yeah, I know how to play. And relatively recently I was playing chess.com on my phone with Stu and that, but
No way.
Yeah.
Did you? Because I just downloaded that about a week ago, and I was going to say, really? I was going to mention it, but like, oh yeah, it's quite a cool, it's quite a cool app to get.
The problem I had was I switched notifications off for it, and then I think if you don't play in like 24 hours, you lose.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I just kept losing. And I'd just get a text from Stu like, "Why aren't you playing?" I was like, "Oh shit!" I'd just forget about it. But maybe I need to download it again.
Yeah, man. If you do, hook me up. You know.
I will. I'm not a great chess player, mate. I know how the pieces move, and I can see like one move ahead, but that really is it.
That is all of it.
Yeah.
Well, look. I mean, one thing that was nice about that chess. I don't know if you ever did them, but they've got lessons in that app as well, which I think are kind of cool. I think what's slowing me down with it is that on the free version, you can only do so many lessons a week.
Oh, fair enough.
But you know, it can help walk you through.
My like goal with it was always like, you know, when someone moves in really erratic ways, like, oh, they must have a plan, but really there is no plan, and that's what throws people off. I was always assuming that would work, but I think I lost every game.
Oh man, that's right. It's a learning curve.
He's so chaotic. Yeah. Why has he done that?
Oh,
it must be a ruse. There's no thought process.
He's a genius.
He's outmaneuvering me in every way possible.
What would be hilarious is if you actually were, purely by chance.
That would be fantastic.
Oh man.
No.
Oh, that's a shame though, dude. Shame.
No,
maybe one day.
Onto it. Mate, what else was on our little list?
Well, I was going to say, you need, rather than chess, stick to what you know, mate. iPads and Androids and dongles and doogles.
Dongly doogles.
What do you dongly doogles? What do you make of the iPhone 12 Pro?
The iPhone 12 Pro. God, let me think of a way to frame this easily. If you have any phone from 2 years ago, it's not worth an upgrade. Simple as that, I would say. It's good. Mate, phones, I think phones really did plateau like 2 years ago. Maybe to iPhone XS or something, or maybe last year. Maybe last year is a better place to put it. Phones massively plateaued. I think any phone you get from the last 3 years is going to be great, pretty much, if you're spending decent money on it. And the iPhone 12 Pro is awesome, and I really like it. And I really like the MagSafe stuff. I don't know if you've seen any of that.
I have, yeah.
So like magnetizes to the back. I've got the I can do some. I've got the little charger here, but I can't quite grab it.
I suppose if you were to put your charger on in your pegboard there, I guess you could pin your phone up.
Yeah, exactly. I've had to take it down since then, but yeah.
Oh no,
that was purely for a story, or for the video. But yeah, no man, it's cool. I think it's an interesting thing, but it's not going to change the way you massively use your phone and stuff.
So are we completely in like the dry lands now? Because I get the same impression about the Pixel 5. What we can see of that, it's looking,
mate,
samey.
It is, and the only things you're getting nowadays, really, you're getting an incrementally better camera each year. Like that is a dead cert. Every year you get a better camera. You just do. Whether it doesn't always, not always a hardware thing. Sometimes it's just software. But most phone creators, including Google, just hide that software behind a new device to get you to upgrade.
Sure, yeah.
And usually, generally speaking, you usually get better battery life as well. So those are the two things that keep going up. Maybe materials a bit nicer, and until phones make the next jump, whatever that is, maybe that is foldables. That will be the next one where everyone's like, "Oh my god, have you got it?
Yeah.
Have you got the phone?" But no, mate, they have plateaued. But I do really like it. That aside, it's really nice. I don't know if you can. I'm holding it up because we're top class podcasters.
There it is. Oh, that looks magnificent.
The back is frosted glass, so it's like a matte sort of glass effect, and it's really nice. Like they do know how to make a premium phone. I'll give them that. It feels gorgeous. And something else I really like, you can see it there. Yeah. Is it's the design so flat, it can just stand up.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, man. All right, I'm sold. I'm sold.
Get me one of them.
Yeah.
But no, man, it's great. Apple do a good job every year, and it's just another great phone from Apple.
Yeah. What else are you seeing from Apple that you like the look of? Like with any news,
There's that new.
Sorry, that's not a test. Sorry, I'm phrasing that like I think I'm testing you on. Like I've got an answer in mind. I really haven't. But just because I haven't seen much. I haven't checked out much of the Apple event. I don't know if there's anything else.
The only other thing that was really cool recently was the new Apple M1 computers. Did you hear anything about those?
I haven't. I've heard the name being pushed around, but I haven't.
Yeah. So very briefly, Apple have been using like Intel processors for the last. Since 2005, so 15 years now, bloody hell. And they're transitioning over from Intel to their own Apple Silicon, which is the same stuff which powers your phone, because they have complete control over it. But, which initially makes it sound like, they're trying to just get more money. For once, I actually think it's not the case. The Apple processors that are in the iPhone are so much more power efficient and so much, they're so far ahead of the competition. It's unbelievable. If you put an iPhone from last year up against the top Androids from this year, the iPhone still blows it away. Wow, and they've just done that again. So they're bringing all the iPhone chips and all that into their computers, which means I've watched loads of videos on it already, but basically you get like 20 hours of battery life on a MacBook as opposed to like 6 or 7. The MacBook Air doesn't even have a fan in it anymore, so it's just silent. Wow. Which is mad. And it just is, they're absolute beasts. It just powers through any form of, complex like content creation task. It just absolutely crushes it. Wow, so they're really interesting, really, really interesting. And it also makes me sad because I just bought a new MacBook which doesn't have it. I'm actually making a video about that.
Is it just you going, fuck?
It's just
over and over again.
It's just me throwing it off a roof and shouting, no. No, man, it's, I said this when I first got this Mac because I knew those Macs were coming. There isn't a good time to buy technology. It doesn't exist. If you need something now, buy it now so you can start using it and start making what you wanted to make. Because it's just missed months. Otherwise, it's missed time and stuff you could have been doing that you haven't been doing. So I kind of stand by my purchase, but I'm also acutely aware it might well be out of date by next year. Sure. Massively.
But I think you're right there, mate. Sometimes you have to just kind of go for it and get your use out of something.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of like I said in that video, if it lasts me 4 or 5 years, then that's still been worth it. It's already, I think from the freelance stuff I've been doing with it, it's potentially already nearly paid for itself. So fine.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, dude, very cool though.
No, man, it sounds like there's some cool stuff coming. I mean, this is a bit off topic, but just because it sprung into my head when we were talking about buying new things with different technology on the horizon. Yeah. Have you heard about the petrol and diesel car ban?
Yeah. Was it 2030?
2030, they brought it forward. Yeah, it was 35, and they brought it forward to 30. That's going to be mental. I feel like that's sprung up on us.
That's 10 years away, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's really not long. I haven't really thought about it. It's really not long.
Yeah, that's not just really me, is it? It feels like that's kind of really, really sprung up on us. So I mean, if anyone hasn't heard, there's no new in the UK, at least, no new petrol or diesel vehicles being sold after 2030.
Mate, do you know what? I think it's the aggressive timeline that we need to do if any change is going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it, mate. If I can buy a cheapish electric car in 2030 when I'm 40, oh god, then fine.
Yeah. I think you're right, man. I mean, it's as long as we can get places that we need to go. Like, I mean, for my work, we drive hundreds of miles sometimes in a day.
Yeah.
So as long as we can just do stuff like that, I suppose, as long as the charging works, as long as the batteries are sufficient.
Yeah. Well, I guess that means, I've never bought a brand new car in my life. I don't think I ever will, but I guess you could still buy a pre-owned car from 2029 in 2035.
Yeah, I'd guess so. Yeah,
I wonder what will happen with petrol stations. I guess they'll just turn into charging stations. Man.
See, that's the thing that I think really needs to be fixed, because I mean, at the minute, with how long it takes you to charge your car, I mean, you imagine the number of cars that whiz through a petrol station when it's busy.
Oh yes,
and then all of a sudden, each of them needs to spend even 10 minutes. If it took 10 minutes to charge your car, you'd have queues up the road.
But then I think it would change people's behaviour, because then you wouldn't leave unless you knew you could get there and back on your tank, on your charge, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. I mean, and I guess at the end of the day, you can be always charging it at home as well. So you're always leaving in the morning with a full tank.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I guess those, I guess to replace petrol stations, they will just have, maybe there'll just be so many of them, it won't be a massive issue.
Yeah.
Because there's always, whenever you're on the motorway here in the UK, there is a few Tesla charge points, but it's usually like 3 or 4, isn't it?
Yeah.
But they might just extend that to be like 30 or 40.
Well, they're going to have to,
Yeah. I guess they'll always be moving through it, because not everyone's going to turn up bang on a certain time. I guess people are always going in and out, and you could just do 10 minutes, like you said. I don't know, man. I think it's great though. I'm all for an electric car.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. Although they need to put in a noise into them so that you can hear them coming from behind. Because I've been caught out a couple of times with electric cars.
Mate, I'd probably agree with you, to be fair, especially for like kids and neighbourhoods and stuff. Needs to be some sort of... Yeah, that's an interesting problem, actually, isn't it? Because
what is
a petrol engine just makes noise.
I think in cash machines, the noise when you draw your money out.
It
doesn't need to make that noise.
Oh, does it not?
But no, it just does it to make you think that there's something happening.
I didn't realise.
So
that.
Yeah, when you hear the, it doesn't have to make that noise.
Oh, I assumed it was like flicking through the notes.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's why they do it. Is so because they go, right, it's going to take a second, but we don't want you to panic. So we're going to make it sound like there's something happening.
Mate, I had no idea that was true. Yeah.
So
I assumed it was folding over the notes and just going and then picking out one.
Yeah. No, dude, they should do that with electric cars as well, just with speakers on the side going.
Yeah, you should be able to customize the noise.
Yes,
I want spaceship noises.
Oh man, when I start making spaceship noises, I think it's time for me to go to bed. It feels way too late. I think that is the show, though, mate. Unless you say differently, I think that.
No. You take it or leave it. I
apologise for our quality of content. No, it's been all right. It's been
fine. It's been fine.
I think it's just because I'm so tired that it feels bad. Well, Tom, thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Tony Thaxton for our theme tune. Thank you, Tom, for being here for another...
That's all right.
Hour?
Oh. Hour and 10, maybe? Oof.
Well past bedtime. What is it? 9:20? No, thanks. Tom, if people want to find you online, where can they hunt you down?
It's at the old bike review all over the place. But where can they hunt down Ben?
In the jungle and at Benjuanlung.
Art
Benjuanlung. Oh man, it's time to wrap it up. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.